Hi guys, welcome to my channel. It's Coding Mate, and today we're going to talk about Python, which is a really popular programming language. Before we do that, if you don't want to watch this video in English, you can always make the subtitles on, which is available in Turkish. So let's get started. So let's do our setup. But before we start it, we can check if we have an efficient Python version on our computer. If you never downloaded it before, you probably don't, but it's always good to check. So all you have to do is open your terminal. I'm using a MacBook Pro, but if you have Windows, you can search terminal on your computer and open it and write this one. I have a 3.8.5 version. If you have upper than 3.8 version, you are good to go. So we can start it to download our editor, but if you don't, it's fine. You can come here and write Python. And it's the newest one is 3.9, but if you don't want to download it, obviously if you use Windows, you have to download for Windows, and you will find a list of the other versions so you can choose. And after that, after you download it and install it in your computer, we have to choose the editor. You can choose whichever you want to choose. I'm gonna use VS Code, but if you have another editor or you get used to another editor, it's fine, you can use it too. So you're downloading, so it takes 3 minutes maybe, and after that you can open it. And after you install your Python, you can always come here and check if it's successfully installed with this again. And after that, what are we gonna do is install extension, which is this one. All you have to do is come here and write Python, which is the most popular one, and you can install it. And then if you want to change your color theme, I'm using a black one, but if you want to change it, you can change it from here on our Visual Code, and there's this welcome page, and what you need to do is open a folder. So I already have a folder named Python for this event, but if you don't have, you can always choose new folder, but I'm choosing Python for this one, and you can choose whatever name you want to give it to the folder and open it. And now we have this Python version. We can close this one. And so if you're familiar with programming, and if you know even something a little, you will know that you start printing hello world when you first start learning a new programming language. It is like learning how to say hello in a foreign language. So I'm gonna give this file's name hello world.py. So what is this.py? It means that we are going to write our code, and we are going to code in Python. And it will be nice to use this extension. And hello world is what I actually give my file as a name. You can change it, you can use your own name, whatever you like to give. And now what we are going to do is we are going to print hello world. So it is actually really easy in Python how to print something. All you have to do is write the print as a function and open parentheses, and between that you can use a quotation mark or quantities. to print hello world. What is that? Why we use quotation mark or quantity? So I'm gonna talk about it later, but basically because it is a string, which means a bunch of characters. So as you can see, we already print our first code or string, hello world. And this is how you write it. This is how you print something. But obviously, if you don't use Visual Code or another code, you can come and open terminal and actually make this code work in terminal. So what you need to do is, there are some basic functions or steps you need to go to open this file. So basically we have to open the file folder, Python folder. So how we can do that? There are two ways. So I'm going to show the long way, then I'm going to show you the short way to use terminal to work your code. So we are going to first learn ls, which is list, and just enter it. So obviously you can use your own terminal if you're using Windows, but you can use another terminal named Ubuntu. So you can download it and it's better than Windows and it will be nice, but if you're using Mac, it's perfectly fine using your own terminal. So as you can see, it is listing every folder that's in my computer. So my Python folder is in my desktop and in my folder named CodingMate. So I have to get to them. So what I'm going to use is another function is cd and desktop. And I'm opening my desktop and I'm in my desktop right now, as you can see. And now I have to enter the folder named CodingMate. So I have to use CodingMate again. As you can see, I'm in my CodingMate folder. And if you wanna know which folder you have in your CodingMate, you can see there is others and Python. So I'm gonna enter Python. And now I'm in my folder named Python. As you can see, there is this one little file named helloworld.py. So I have to work it. How? So since it is a Python tree, all I need to do is write Python tree and write the name of my folder and the extension of that .py. And as you can see, this is hello world. So this is the long way. So what is the short way to do this? Is come here. I don't know if it is a thing in Windows, but probably it is. So I'm opening a new terminal at folder and I'm in my Python without writing these all cd and ls functions. And now all I have to do is write Python 3 hello world .py. And here it is, hello world. You can play with it and you can write other stuff, like I'm gonna write CodingMate right now because why not? So as you can see, it's right CodingMate, and I can Control C, and as you can see, it is writing several times. So if I want to, write CodingMate several times, I don't know, maybe 3 times or 4 times, all I need to do is come here and use a star. I'm going to talk about it later, but let's do this. So as you can see, there's this CodingMate 3 times, but I want to make them look better, so I'm gonna give it a little space, and here it is, CodingMate. You can use this way too, And now we're gonna do some shapes like triangles, and you can play with it too. It's really fun to do. Paint or draw some shapes by Python, which is a nice way. You can actually draw a dog or insect, but I'm gonna be simple about it. You can play with it as much as you want to. So we're going to use our quotation marks. You can use your quantities, but I like quotation marks. It's easier for me, but you can feel free to use the other. As you can see, we have a nice triangle right now. And I'm gonna draw another shape. It's actually fun to do. You can write or draw anything you want to draw in Python because it is okay. You can use any characters actually. Okay. So I have this one too. So they look nice. I'm okay with them. You can play with it. You can have other shapes. But now we're gonna do another thing. So we're gonna learn about data types and variables. So what is a variable and what is a data type? Data type. So a variable is actually a place that our computer holds for a while. It is temporary. It is not permanent. So what I'm talking about as temporary. So you can think a variable as a box or as a glass. So if you, okay, let me show you. So I give this real long name for this file. You can make it shorter. So let's get it coding mate. So coding mate is our identifier. It is the name of our variable. It is the name of our glass or box. And let's give a number. 35. So 35, we have a box that it has like 35 in it. And we can change it. We can put it 36, 40, 49. And if we have water in our glass, we can just pour it down and pour another thing like coffee, tea, anything. So the glass is the same, but we change it, so it is temporary. Until we change, it will stay still. But if we change it, it will change it. So it is temporary, not permanent. So let's print coding mate. So I talk about that if it was a bunch of characters, it is a string, but it is not. It is an identifier. So I'm not gonna write between quotation marks to write coding mate. So it's 35, but if I change it to 36, it will be 36. As you can see, it is temporary. It is going to change. So this is what a variable. Oh my god. So now let's talk about data types. So before we do that, I want to introduce you another icon we use, which is a sharp or hashtag icon, whichever you want to say. So what does icon do? So it makes things invisible for a computer to read it. So in this way, I can, okay. And as you can see, my computer did nothing because it can't read print coding mate. It can read this line because I made this line invisible for you to read it, which is triple. quotation marks or triple quantities. So I'm gonna write, let me take this, and you actually think that it will print twice, but it will not, because, oh yeah, sorry. So there is another way, which is, okay, so it is using triple quotation marks or using triple quantities. It is just on you, because if you write like lines of code, like 10 lines of code, we have to come to the beginning of the line and we have to put a sharp icon every time. So it is really hard and it's really unnecessary. So what we do is using 3 quotation marks and writing whatever we like to write. So, and then close it. So as you can see, there's just one coordinate printed, but if I delete them, there will be 4. So I'm using this so I can show you. So what is a string? So actually, a string is a bunch of characters, but we can say that everything between quotation marks. So everything, like if it's just a comma, it is a string. If it's just a letter, it is a string. If it's actually a little bit complicated, if you think it, a number or a bunch of numbers, it is still a string. Or name, anything between quotation marks are strings. And we have another one which we'll use a lot. So it is integer. So I'm gonna use it as int. You will understand why in next coming episodes. But obviously whole numbers as integer, or numbers without a decimal point, such as, obviously there is no quotation marks or there is no quantities for that. 1, 2, 3, 0, negative numbers even, they are all, or something like that, they are all integer. And as you can imagine, so a float is numbers with decimal point. So 1.0 is actually a decimal point. So it's a float 2 or 2.1, 9.7, 71, anything. And I will talk to you about bool too. So bool is actually true or false. True and false. So I'm gonna give some examples. So there is just one other function I want to talk about, which is, it is not really necessary for us, but it is a nice way if you want to show other people the type of the decimal or anything. So let me say I'm going to use coding mate again. So we already have a variable. Yes, I'm sorry. So as you can see, there is int because it is a whole number without decimal point, so it is an integer. But we don't have to do that if we just want to know what is the type. So you can come here and it says int. So So all you have to do is come to the variable and you can see it on the top. There's int, so it is integer. Or if I use quantities for this, you will see it is a string now. So let me change it. Change it, maybe. Okay, let me change it. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in here. So if we use, obviously you don't have to use variables every time. You can just write type, and you can just write, I don't know, that. And it is a string, as you can see. So if we change it to this one, it will be a float. Or if we change and write it as true, so bools are true and false. So Python is actually a case sensitive programming language. So what does that mean? If you write it with small one, it will give errors because obviously you can expect it to understand what is true, because it is not data type. So what you need to do, if you want to print true, you can make it between quotation marks, so it can write true. Or if you want to write true with a bigger case, big case, you can write true in quotation marks again. But if you want to use true and false as bools, you have to write this way. So there is some, so a student is true and isn't student as false. So these are both, as you can see, are bools. So we don't have to use type. And obviously it doesn't mean because we use not here, it is false. We can say it is true too. So they can both be true or they can both be wrong. It is up to you. It is up to what you're doing. But these are our main data types, but obviously we will learn more complicated one like list in upcoming lessons. So right now we are knowing data types and variables and knowing how to print. So let's do some other stuff like learning numbers. And actually I'm not talking about numbers, but most likely some calculator stuff. So we can actually create a basic calculator after this. So what we're going to do is learning some operators. So as you can see, plus is what we use to add stuff together. So plus sign to add things to others. So obviously you can do this. I'm gonna go really long and write this one. You can print. And obviously it print 4. And now let's get into another one. And this is obviously to subtract things from each other. So I'm gonna give it to, so when I subtract this 2, it is 0. And this star sign is to multiply things. Obviously, you don't have to actually have spaces between the stuff, but it looks better. So I'm using it. You don't have to, so it writes 4. Maybe we should say 3, so it's more understandable. So it prints 6. And this is for our stuff. So it is how we divide two things. So this is our division operator. So we can say okay, so here's the interesting stuff about this division operator. Whatever you divide, even if it's supposed to be something without a decimal point, it will be with a decimal point. So it will be a float, even if it should be an integer. So what we need to do in this case, we are using an integer division operator. So it is actually 2/. So this is actually, that's it. So let me give it another name so you can see it. So sometimes you want to get result as integer. So in this case, you have to use integer division operator. So as you can see, it is, and it's actually, it is a float and it is a integer. And there are some other stuff like power, modulus operator. So let's get, so this is our modulus operator. And yeah. And it is 1 again. Or maybe another one, right? Okay. As you can see, this is our modulus operator, and we can actually take power 2. Actually, we can do a lot of stuff, but I'm just going to show you the basics. So it wouldn't be like a whole mess. So this is how we take power. Actually, there's 2 ways to take power, but I'm going to show you just this one for today, and I'm going to show you that one for another day, because and this is for, or we can print it. So this is our main operators for mathematical usage. So now we can actually make a basic calculator. Basic operator, we have to learn how to take inputs. So we can take data from other. So let's learn how to take input. So it is actually really simple in Python. All you have to do is write input and use parentheses. What are we going to do with that is, okay, obviously you can just write this way. Let me delete this one. And it will give you some space to write whatever you want to write. So as you can see, it gets what I wrote, but actually it didn't keep it in somewhere because I didn't say it. So what I need to do is actually make some variables for this. So right now it is stored in somewhere. So I'm gonna print a after this. So I'm gonna write 12 again, and it will give me 12 because I said. And when you use with customers or other people, it will be nice to actually give some note so they will know what they want you to give them. For example, what is your favorite number. So use a space. If you don't use a space, so okay, let's say it's 12. As you can see, it is right next to it, so it is actually not that good looking aesthetically. So what we do is just give it a little space in here, so it will be looking better in this way. So as you can see, it is 12. So since now we know how to get input, obviously you can get another stuff, like you can say which programming language do you want to learn. As you can see, I'm going to say 12 again. I'm going to say Python. And yeah, obviously you can actually play with it more, like you can give notes and it's actually more fun to do. For example, I'm gonna make them invisible so we can play with it more. So we can ask for people's grade and their names, and it will be more fun to do. So what's your name? And then print hello, and you can say the people's name. So there's two ways to do that. You can use a plus icon, or you can use a comma. So I'm going to use a comma right now. So we will use name in this place. So let's do it. What's your name? Let's say coding mate. And hello coding mate. So it's doing this. Or we can use a plus sign. What's your name? Coding mate. And hello coding mate. So this is two usage. This is two alternatives. You can use whichever you want to use. But I'm gonna go with comma because this is how I get used to it. And we can ask them for their age. How old are you? Okay, so let's have more fun with it. Like, you don't have to use it. So we can use this way, and then we can ask for their grade, which is input, and I'm gonna say mark maybe, or success, GPA. Yeah, I actually like GPA more. GPA. So I will say, okay, what is your GPA score? And we can say that wow, you're smart. Yeah, forget this. Okay, so it's playing with me. So it's playing with me, so let me do it. We can see it. Already made. Okay, so Okay, so let me say 1. So 1. I mean, it's fun actually. I like it. So now we know how to get input. We're gonna play a little game. So I'm gonna just give it name pie. So okay. Print or input. So we're gonna ask the people or the customer to give us some information so we can make a sentence or a story. Who, with whom, where, when, what time, doing what, or that kind of stuff. So we can actually have fun. So let's say name and input. Okay. Or you can simply ask name. That's on you. And so we're gonna use with name for this. Input. Okay, actually, let me change that a little bit. I'm gonna say who. With who. And verb. So input. Give us a verb and verb 2. And then when input. What is your favorite day? Actually, what time? When? Where? Okay, so input. Where do you wanna live? Or where do you want to travel next summer? So now we're gonna have a story. So print do this. Okay, so we know the name. And then we're gonna use the verb. As you can see, you can use plus or you can use the comma. Verb, and we can use with name plus when where. And actually, since they probably give me just a place name, I'm gonna use at, so it will be obvious. And I'm using a space so they will be next to each other. And I think they will just give me their favorite day, so I'm gonna use this on. And they will just give me another name, so I'm gonna use with another name. So I'm using other plus signs or commas as you like to. And now I think I put all the commas. Okay, who? Let me think some celebrity actually. You know what? Beyonce. Not whom. Did find it? Give us a verb and verb 2. Talked. Monday. Monday. Italy. Some spaces between these variables because other way they will all come together because there's no space between them. There is an easier way to do that. I'm gonna okay, Beyonce again. Gigi Hadid talked Monday, Italy. As you can see, it is all between, there are some spaces between them, and it is really easy. So it is for today's video. Thanks for watching me, and please make sure to give it a thumbs up if you like it. Another video. Thanks for watching me. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like it, please give it a thumbs up and comment down below whichever question you have, or do you have any suggestions. Please don't hesitate to ask or say it. And Saturday we will see each other, and there will be more fun and more complicated stuff. See you then.